On.
Well, as you know, there's a huge story going on that I don't think is being represented properly, and that's the Hurricane Helene madness. I call it Helene now. I'm sure somebody's going to go grab that URL right now.
Yeah.
Um, so I call it Helene because it is. And so I've been blessed to have a platform to put me in a position where I'm helping coordinating a lot of items, people, even unfortunately cadaver dogs, so on and so forth. So I've been having a lot of conversations lately with boots on the ground in North Carolina, and what we're seeing is different. When I say we the people, and what we're watching on X and what we're watching on the mainstream media, not that anybody watches them anymore, but what we're seeing is a complete misrepresentation of the facts. And I'm even including the patriot mythology and, of course, the mainstream media, which are diametrically opposed, and they're both not hitting the target, in my opinion. So I'm having conversations with fire chiefs. There's I'll be meeting with Navy SEALs tomorrow, probably on Saturday, a mayor. But the point with this conversation is they unilaterally are telling me and asking me, they're saying the story is not being told properly. And some of them know my background, and they're like, can you tell the story properly? I said, I'd be honored. So that's why I'm flying in to be boots on the ground tomorrow at a forward operating base that's doing phenomenal work. Unfortunately, what we're doing is body location primarily tomorrow and some other things. And then Saturday, I'm going to travel to multiple spots also, meet people and tell the true story and what's really going on here. Because I can tell you one thing. I've been doing my research as of late, and there's a hurricane called the Great Galveston Hurricane. That's in the year of 1900. And
On.
I'm talking to multiple people. So I confidently believe that this will be the number one largest natural disaster, but it's not natural, is it?
No.
This is, in fact, it's unnatural. And so that's the premise of what the documentary is going to be about, and telling the true story.
Yeah. I mean, I think just watching what everyday Tom, Dick, and Harry's were saying on their Facebook, on their Instagram, on X, they were sitting there saying, yo, I've lived on the Gulf Coast my whole life, whether it's, Florida or Alabama or wherever. And like, and we're not talking about young people like teenagers and 20s. We're talking about people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. Like, I've never seen anything like this. There's nothing natural about this. And when you have thousands of people saying that of their own accord, and people that usually don't follow shows like yours or mine or anything that would be considered in the outer fringes or conspiracy theory, right? And they're
Mm-hmm.
saying that, it's like, okay, maybe it's time to start taking a look at this and looking at the whole harp thing and all the other things that are related a little more serious, right?
That's right. Well, in your great state, Tennessee, they've said publicly on in through their congressional apparatus that chemtrails are real. So
Yeah, Congress in
uh,
Tennessee banned chemtrails back in, it went effective, I believe, June or July, but they actually did this in April of this year. So,
mhm.
apparently you can ban a conspiracy theory. I didn't know Congress could ban a conspiracy theory.
It's the truth. I was just having a discussion with the guy on the plane with this, right? And he's like, this doesn't. He goes, it just doesn't feel right. And I go, because it's not right. And I
No,
I
it's
said,
not.
you've heard chemtrails or conspiracy theory? He said, yes. I go, then why are they banned in Tennessee? He
Well,
says
and I
they
can
are.
tell
I
you
go,
this is
yeah.
a matter of fact, somebody who is here 90% of the time when I'm not traveling, that I saw chemtrails almost daily. I would say on average, probably 3 to 4 times a week.
Hmm.
And as soon as you'd see them, they were different than the contrails because the contrails would disappear behind the plane, several hundred feet behind the plane, right? That's
Yeah,
normal.
that's
But
normal.
when you have chemtrails, they don't disappear and they go for miles. And then they'll slowly disperse and spread out. And then within a few hours, the whole sky is overcast and cloudy. And then usually it'll start raining. And sometimes it'll rain for a day or two, right? But I can tell you, as a matter of fact, ever since the Congress in Tennessee and Governor Lee here signed off on it, because the governor, just like the president, has to sign off on a law for it's the same thing in the states, right? Governor has to signed off on that. The Congress passed banning any spraying of chemicals or anything in the skies, essentially chemtrails. And there were mainstream articles out claiming that, right wing conspiracy theorists and the alt right were running hard with this, saying that Congress is banning chemtrails, and they're not. That's not really what about. Okay, so why you mentioning it then, right? Because the verbiage was specific. It's in there, and that's why they brought it up. But I can tell you, as a matter of fact, ever since it was banned, I have not seen a single chemtrail in the sky, and we've had way less inclement weather. And also, after it happened, it was the day that it happened, or no, sorry, the next day after it happened, I'm outside standing out in the parking lot in Publix, a grocery store, and I'm using my phone and I'm showing the clear blue skies and all the clouds. Because before that, it was always just, gray and overcast. And then we get a couple blue sky days with fluffy clouds and then gray and overcast with chemtrails everywhere. I filmed those too. And so the day after it was banned, I started filming this. I shared it on social media. Alex Jones actually shared my post. I don't know how he got it. He got it through somebody else who shared it. But I was pretty excited about that because I'm like, people are paying attention now, finally. And I'm
Hmm.
hoping
Hmm.
people are waking up. It's not a joke. It's not a conspiracy theory. And, the facts don't lie. You walk outside now in Tennessee every day, there's not a single chemtrail in the sky. Hasn't been since June or July.
Yeah, and if you guys want just facts, if you want to show the abnormies facts, let's take Hurricane Milton for example. Just go to AccuWeather.com, click on Hurricane Milton, search hurricanes, go to Hurricane Milton, click on Hurricane Milton, and look at the trajectory of that hurricane. You would be blown away. It is so man-made. It is undisputable. Just look at the trajectory of the hurricane. They show it. They do it every 3 hours. They take it. So instead of the hurricane making, this is what hurricanes generally do, by the way. They'll make loops. They'll find airflow, and they'll come around like this and do things like that, right? Oh, not this one. This one literally started on the coast of Mexico and went like this. Doop, 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 doop. And it's like they were hitting it, and finally they got it to go where they wanted it to go, and then it swooped up and over. So it
Crazy.
looks like you could. It's on AccuWeather. They don't even know they're telling on themselves. It's so obvious what's going on there.
Well,
It's
nobody ever
crazy.
accused them of being intelligent.
Yeah.
Um, I actually, we didn't plan this, but I'm just looking to see. I know there's declassified stuff on weather manipulation. I was going to see if I could just find one real quick. I mean, you guys can look it up. You guys are savvy, Um, but there's declassified stuff out there all over the place. I think I found one. It doesn't take but a quick Google search, actually. Is it going to pull up? Yeah, there we go. Let's see here. Weather and climate modification. This is nsf.gov. Special Commission on Weather Modification, National Science Foundation. This is just one thing. I mean, there's stuff all over the place out there, right? It's been
Hey,
declassified.
say hi to brother Bruce. He just walked in.
Did Bruce walk in?
That's
Look at
right.
that.
That's right. There's
I
brother
love it
Bruce
when you
right
call me
there.
Bruce Poppy. What's up, brother?
He can't hear you, so you just keep singing. He doesn't give a damn.
Oh, that's right. It's in your ears, right?
Because I have it in my ears, and I am not going to sing
He
for you.
knows what I'm singing. Ask him what I'm singing.
He knows. In fact, he just said it. He just said it.
See?
He just said
Because
it.
I sing it every time I see him.
Oh, how funny! That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then we have, if we're over. Can you imagine this with the Screw Big Up family? We're over 10 full U-Haul moving loads shipped between Florida and North Carolina, and we actually have The reason why you guys don't see Master Baggy in the chat right now is Brother Man Master Baggy is filling up a whole nother truckload for us right now, because we're bringing a bunch of items, unfortunately, for mainly excavating for some reason. I'm so opposed to government, I drop the gov often. A guy on the plane even
Great.
was laughing at me because I dropped it. I'm like, screw big.
Screw big. Just screw big. We just love to screw
Yeah,
big.
yeah, screw big. We all need to screw big. Sorry, honey.
That's great. So, I was just talking about this on my show earlier today about how when Jesus of Nazareth was born, we had what they call the Christmas star, right? Star Bethlehem. That's what it's nicknamed. That was actually the Great Conjunction is what it's called. Some of you may remember this because it was talked about quite a bit 4 years ago-ish, because for the first time in 2020, for the first time in about 800 years, the Great Conjunction happened again. It's Jupiter and Saturn coming together in the sky. Okay, it only happens every 800 or so years, which is interesting because 8, there's that magic number 8, right? 17, 1 and 7 equals 8. That's actually a number of Saturn, the black 8 ball. That's why if you knock the 8 ball, the black 8, black is Saturn. There's 3 numbers associated with Saturn, 6, 7, and 8. But 8, and that's why the stop sign has 8 sides.
Two of my favorite numbers are 8. Am I instantly a Satanist? I mean,
no. And
I just said 2 of my favorite numbers are 8. One of the 2 favorite numbers I have are 8. So it's 8 and 11.
Oh, 8
screw
and 11.
Big.
Okay. Screw big.
every time I screw up, screw big.
Screw big. Screw big or go home. That should be a t-shirt. But okay, so the stop sign has 8 sides. That's why spider has 8 legs. Saturn has been called the demiurge or Satan, the god of this world in the Bible. And I just find it interesting that, Q 17 said that it's going to be biblical. And a lot of people doubting whether we're actually in those times. And you and I did a long series, We the People Are the Plan. You're wearing the t-shirt that was inspired by that series. And we went through all these Q drops, hundreds, I think over 100 Q drops. And if we didn't do it all on that series, I've done it since because I kind of continued on and some other things and showed how Q has been wildly misrepresented and misinterpreted by the Patriot mythology community. And if we bring this thing down to earth and just like with the Bible, just read what it actually says instead of what they say that it says, right? Because they've done the same thing with the Q drops as they did with the Bible. They've taken things out of context. They created wild mythology and wild ideologies out of it that aren't true. Q is actually quite rational and down to earth. And if you go back and reread it, you'll see that it's like, wow, pretty much everything Q has said has actually come to pass. And a lot of it is not what has been said about it. But one of those things is Q constantly said 30 some times that it's going to be biblical, right? And we just had that great conjunction again, the Bethlehem star, the Christmas star. We had it again in 2020. That's when all hell broke loose. That was really the kind of the kickstart of all of this craziness. And we're not even close to, we haven't even gotten there yet. Well, one of the things in the Bible that's constantly talked about is, and what the Bible calls the end times, which is not the end of the world, it's the end of the age. The Bible talks about ages or eons, right? They mistranslated that intentionally, say the end of the world. It doesn't say that. It says the end of the age. Well, we're coming to the end of the age of Pisces, into the age of Aquarius. So this end of the age of Pisces is bringing all this chaos. Well, interestingly enough, one of the things that it says, because we could go on 1,000 tangents with that stuff. Let's keep it tight to the cuff here. The point I was trying to make is one of the big things that Jesus repeated over and over in other places in the Bible, other prophets and some of the apostles and disciples that wrote scripture, talked about how in these end times, at the end of the age, we would see a lot of crazy weather. It means the earth is unsettled. It's out of order. There's chaos, right? And so I believe that, again, just kind of piecing things together here in the puzzle, You got 2020 with the Great Conjunction once again, after 800 years, since we haven't seen that in 800 years, and in 800 years before that, Jesus was born somewhere around that time. And then you've got Q saying it's going to be biblical. And then this happens in 2020. And now we're seeing all this stuff. We're watching all the turmoil everywhere. It's absolutely insane how this stuff is really starting to line up. What else did Q say? Future proofs past. This is going to become a lot more clear to people, the truth, not the Patriot mythology stuff, but the real truth about what Q said. You're going to find that Q is going to be vindicated on everything when this is all said and done. And I don't know what we're about to go through, but this definitely is truly biblical. And part of what you're involved in helping clean up that mess, it's precisely what was predicted by Q and predicted by the prophecies in the Bible.
That's amazing.
I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but Lewis is sitting here is like,
no, I think it's awesome. It's well, I've known for a while that things are lining up, and it's almost feels repetitory, but is it repetitory, or is it just the future was already told? That I don't know. A lot of people say repetitory because if it has to be done twice, if good is going to take over and fix it. I don't know much about that stuff, but I will tell you that it is biblical right now. This is a clear delineation of evil versus good.
yep.
In all my time, and I've been here almost 60 years, I've never seen such a clear delineation. I see people taking sides daily, and I see people, which shock me, are intentionally taking the evil side, knowing, not being brainwashed into it, but knowing that that's their choice, because they've been so sold on how important money is, and being the root of all evil. That's what they believe, and they go, I'm taking this side. That's my stand. Blows me away. But I have a theory I've had a lot for a long time, and this gives me a solace, and I really believe it, and it seems to be playing out right now. I believe you have a certain percentage. I was just talking to my buddy Alan Fallon last night about this. I believe you have a certain percentage of people that are good, neutral, and evil. So the evil, I think, could be 5 to 10%. The good could be 20 to 30%. And the other 60 to 65% are neutral, meaning they go where their influence goes. And because they don't have the natural discernment, and they need to be guided. And unfortunately, many of them will fall in the evil trap if that's their circle of influence. The beautiful and the sad thing right now, cream is rising to the top. You see it. I can tell you, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Florida, the most amazing people. We, the people, are coming together at a level that's unseen before. And when evil tries to step in, like a FEMA or somebody else, they just, nope, get out of our way. We don't need you. We've got this, right? Because they fear that. They do not fear the evil. They run in light, and it's beautiful. And here's why these horrific tragedies will end up working into a positive in my mind. The more that the evil is suppressed and shown in these situations, and the more the good is, those neutral, that 60 to 65%, I believe will be galvanized to move towards the good. And I believe when people are introduced to good and really understand the principles of doing the right thing, I don't believe many of them will go back.
No, I mean, even scripture says that, once you see the light, you can't unsee it. You can't, it's kind of like when you drill a hole in a piece of wood. You can't put the wood back, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Once you truly see the light, not you went to a church and had a religious experience, which a religious experience is not of God. I am of the firm belief that religion is the wisest and craftiest creation of the devil, because it's God posing as God, like he always does. It's counterfeit truth. it draws you in and it lulls you into a religious comfort, making you think that you're actually in the light. Remember, the most deceptive evil is always going to appear good. The Bible says that Satan appears as an angel of light. He's not gonna, it's not the Hollywood stuff with the, red skin and the green glowing eyes and the fangs and the horns and the tail and the pitchfork and all this nonsense. No one's going to be deceived by that. He's an angel of light. The most beautiful angel of all, actually. That's the enticement. And I don't know why people don't see this, but many don't. And again, that's why Jesus said in the Gospel of Matthew, he said, there will be many in that day. Speaking of now, the end times, many, not a few, many who will say unto me, didn't we prophesy, Lord, in your name? We healed the sick. We cast out demons. We praised God. We worshiped and all these things. And Jesus said, I will say to you, depart from me, you cursed, you workers of iniquity. I never knew you. He's not talking to worldly minded people that have no thought of God in their head. The most cursed people are the religious people. Jesus said this repeatedly. That should be some cause for self-reflection right there. But sadly, most people will just look at people like me who kids, or doing anything destructive against somebody else.
You can see it too, though. On day one, Robert and I had a show when Tim Waltz was appointed to be the VP running mate as VP for Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And I said, that dude looks like a pedo.
Oh, yeah. You can always see it in the eyes. It's always in the eyes. They have these small, beady little lizard eyes.
Now look, and I had no knowledge about this guy whatsoever. I just saw him. I go, that dude looks like a pedo.
100%.
And what are we seeing coming out about him now?
It's coming out now. Yeah. So and I don't know how this is going to go. Nobody knows how it's going to go. And by the way, guys, I would caution you, if you're listening to people who claim that they know exactly how this is going to pan out, don't listen to them. They're clickbait people. They're just trying to, get money, get attention and whatever. Stick with people that are actually being honest and teaching you real values and saying exactly what Jesus said. Just get to work, man. Like, work on yourself and help your neighbor. And it's we, the people, are the plan. No one's coming to save us. Yeah. Self-governance is exactly what it says. It's self-governance. And if you don't self-govern, somebody else will govern you.
Yeah, stick with the people that are courageous. Yes, stick with the people that are courageous enough to say, I don't know.
Yeah, that takes more honesty, and a lot of times I would say it takes more courage to say that, because nobody likes to say I don't know, especially when people are looking to you. You've got thousands of people every day watching these shows, and they're looking to you for answers. I mean, there were times when Jesus was like, whatever, man, it's up to you. Again, good news is it's up to you. Bad news is up to you. And that's the thing. It's like, it's not all planned. I hate it when I hear people say, well, God's got it all handled. It's all God's plan. Really? It was God's plan to fucking wreck, the South Carolina and Florida and Jordan, all.
Right. No, you know what God's plan is? God's plan is the fact that we have freedom of choice.
There it is. Free will.
That is it. It's free will. That's God's plan. That's also the devil's plan. The best tool for the devil is our freedom of choice. But the best gift that God has given us is free will.
Yeah.
It is what it is, guys. So he's not always coming to save us. I do believe that there's divine intervention. I do believe he steps in at times. But the reality is, we've dug this for us, and I believe we are living hell on earth. And the people of the light, and I'm not talking about Lucifer's light, the people of the light are here repairing it and moving the scales. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, you are your own worst enemy. And again, like I always say, the good news is it's up to you. The bad news is it's up to you. I hear people say all the time, well, if God's real, how come he allows all kinds of evil in the world? Well, you got two choices. You either get to be a robot with no mind of your own and no free will, and God just controls everything, and you don't even know you exist, essentially. You're just a character in a video game, which I believe this is a video game of sorts, but it's first player character. Like you're controlling your avatar in the video game, and you do have a choice, and you're really experiencing it. So it's real stuff. It's serious, right? It's the most real virtual reality there is. That's so you either accept it, you have free will, and you have control, and God gave you that. That's what He gave to Adam and Eve, or you just accept that you don't have free will. And these conversations we're having that you're just aware of, even sitting here right now doing this show, you're aware of it, but you had no choice in this. What kind of existence is that? That's garbage. I don't believe that for 1 second. That doesn't even make any sense. It's not even rational. So we all have to take responsibility for our actions. That's the whole point. And even Jesus said in Luke 10:19, He said, "Behold, I give you full power, authority, and dominion over everything in the earth." It's up to us. That was His whole purpose in coming here. It wasn't, if He was coming here to save everybody, resurrection, He would have sat on a throne in Jerusalem and just made a big utopia and everything's fine, right? That's not the purpose of this life. That's not the purpose of this realm. You have to grow and develop and learn to self-govern, to be a sovereign. And like Jesus said in John 10:34, He said, "Have I not said in your own law," quoting David in Psalm 82, He said, "Have I not said you are all gods?" Of course we are. We all have God within us. You can't not be a God if you have God within you. Are we not children of God? What do God? Okay, so robins have baby robins, dogs have baby dogs, whales have baby whales. What do gods have? Baby gods, right? So to sit there and say, we're all gods. Jesus said it. I didn't say. If you don't like it, rip that John chapter 10 out of your Bible, because Jesus said it. Rip chapter 82 of Psalm out of your Bible. King David said it. It's in both the Old and New Testament. You can't escape it. You might as well just burn your whole Bible if you don't like it. You're going to have to reconcile with the programming you were given and understand that all of that programming was done to hold you down in bondage so that you don't rise up and become the very thing that the cabal fears, which is someone with Christ consciousness that's going around spreading health, wealth, love, and happiness in the world, the kingdom of heaven on earth. That's our job.
Yeah. I think what you said was paramount, and I hope people are paying attention because it's laid out in front of us. I do want to mention in chat, Ghostwriter made a legitimate comment, but I want to address it. It says, yes, but there should be limits. The kids should be immune to harm at the least. Well, that's where the free will comes in. Lord gave adults the free will
It's our
to
job.
be observant and protect the children. We, the people, have failed at that. And I think we're making a comeback now, but we've failed at that.
Yep. It's all up to us. Again, good news is up to you. Bad news, it's up to you. And all will be made right at some point. But the reason we go through this realm and this life is it's really a test. It's a test to see where you're going after this. And I don't subscribe to the religious ideology of eternal, all expenses paid resort vacation called heaven and eternal burning in a frying pan hell. That's not even what the scripture says. And I'm not going to get into that today, but it's very clear. If you want a really quick example, just read the book of Revelation where it says God. Hell is just a hellish existence. You're right there in the pit of hell right now. Okay. All of hell will be swallowed up. Hellish existence does not last forever. Because if you believe if a hellish existence lasts forever, then you don't believe Christ is king. You don't believe He can overcome everything. You're putting God in a box. You're calling Jesus a failure. And I think that's a smack in the face and a spit in the face. It doesn't mean that people aren't going to, for a long period of time, who knows how long that is because we have free will, doesn't mean that people won't make a lot of mistakes and do stupid stuff and create hell for themselves and other people for a long time, whether it's here or on the other side or wherever. But I refuse to believe for a minute. I refuse to limit God for 1 second that He can't overcome any and all things. Remember, with God, all things are possible. And I'm not going to allow fear, shame, guilt, and condemnation to rule from my unconscious mind just because that's what we were programmed with a religious America.
Yeah, well said. And people need to know that this is a blip on the radar. We've been here for tens of thousands of years, possibly. I mean, nobody could really prove that. And will be here for tens, hundreds of thousands, millions more. thereafter.
Yep.
So it's very hard to see what we're seeing now, but this is a blip on the radar. And I believe what we're doing is we're constructing the future right now. That's what we're doing. We're setting the
Yep.
table for a more goodly, godly relationship with God and Mother Earth,
Well, it's
in
our
my
job to
opinion.
build the kingdom of heaven on earth. Again, if it was Jesus' job, he wouldn't have left. He said, go out in the world, preach the gospel. What's the gospel? It's the God spell. What's the God spell? Because everything's spell casting, right? It's the word.
Yeah,
Christ is the word, the
everything.
logos, right? Go out and preach the word. What's the word? The good word. It's health, wealth, love, and happiness. So Jesus came, he made an example. He was a living blueprint, and we're all supposed to become Christ like him. If you got Christ in you, you're Christ. I'm Ethan Christ, you're Lewis Christ. It's whatever your name is, you're that Christ, right? Because the name Christ is not even a name, it's a title. It means the anointed one. Well, if you're not anointed with the Holy Spirit, if you're not anointed with Christ consciousness, then what are you? Are you just a religious fool going through the motions? You know, read Acts chapter 7, Acts chapter 17. What do they both say? God does not dwell in temples made with hands. Neither is he worshiped with men's hands as though he needed anything. You want to really worship God? You worship God with your life. Lewis, what you're doing right now, that's true worship. That's real worship. Singing songs and sitting around in circles, holding hands, singing kumbaya and hallelujah. That's not worshiping God. God don't need you. Again, I didn't say it. Rip Acts chapter 17 out of your Bible if you don't like it, because they said it. I didn't say it. It's time to get real. It's time to ditch the programming and get on our worship with God and go make a difference. Take responsibility. We, the people, are the plan.
Yeah, and speaking of that, before we transition about responsibility, guys, if you want to help what's going on in North Carolina, everybody can help in their way. You can pray, you can donate money, you can donate time, you can send goods, you could help organize. There's a lot of different things you can do. Just go to unitytour.us, unitytour.us. The whole page is dedicated to helping with this disaster. So it'll have all the tools and avenues where you can actually make a difference. My phone number is even there. Text me if there's something that you think you can do to help, or if you have a quick question in regards to this. I will at the moment I will not accept any texts regarding anything except this disaster relief. And praying would be good also. Oh, it looks like you put up. Okay, you put the site up and then you went to the
Well,
Get
I
Saved Go. So
accidentally
there's a
clicked. I clicked on it, but I'm just scrolling
no
through it.
worries.
Yeah.
So
So
what's needed now is unfortunately a lot of the people out there that are running helicopters and vehicles are now dipping into their savings, and some are not even paying rent to pay for the fuel.
yeah,
So funds would help to pay for the fuel. But whatever, just go to unitytour.us and you'll get a rundown of what you can do to help, because not everybody has money, and I'm not looking for anybody to go poor doing this. So just do whatever you feel like you can do. And like we always do, we give you many avenues where you can help. So you're not always having to reach into your pocketbook. But if you have
yeah,
the means, then go for it. We just got a massive donation from somebody a couple of days ago, and
yeah.
that's literally being put together as we speak.
Well, and remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. And like the scripture says, be not deceived. God will never be mocked. Whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap. You know, your money is seed. Every time you put, this is why it's so important to watch where you put your money. Jesus talks about the good steward and the bad steward. And he says, money's actually the least in the kingdom of heaven. It's the least. And he said, if I can't trust you with the money, I can't trust you with anything. That's the Gospel of Matthew. Now, I'm going to be talking about that on future shows. It's actually coming up in my notes on one of the show series I'm doing now. So I'm not going to go to it, and we don't have time. But just so you know, wherever you sow your seed, your money is every dollar. That's a seed. That's a representation of your life energy, your life force. And wherever you put that, that's going to determine what comes out of that. Every seed you sow, the whole universe operates on the principle of sowing and reaping a harvest. So make sure you're sowing your seed in the right place, and understand, if you sow seed in good ground, you will receive a return. God will never be mocked. God will bless those who sow seed in good ground. And this is good ground right here.
I agree. Thank you.
So, we've been going about 45 minutes. Did you want to segue into the next topic here?
Well, yeah, because this is so Ethan introduced me to something several months ago, and he'll probably be the first to tell you I was extraordinarily hesitant, and I said, "Okay, let me learn everything about it." I learned a lot, and then he gave me samples. Tried the samples, got amazing results. Still skeptical. I said, "Give me more samples." And as he knows, then I said, "Give me more samples." And so I was really vetting this, and it's undeniable. And it's Ethan can go into this, right? But people know that I'm hot and heavy on glutathione. But if I find a way to even do better, I have to put my name behind that. Now, I'm not abandoning another glutathione product. In fact, worldwide, I would still recommend it. It's great. In fact, I would say this thing, other one that Ethan's going to talk about, is freaking off the hook. So I do want to give my own personal testimonial. People have lately have said your hair is getting even darker.
Mm.
Well, I'm just guessing that's why. I don't know that that's why. I'm just guessing that that's why. But as a testimonial on this rigorous Unity tour that we did, I put the team through a lot of hell, and we had, between the breakdowns and the weather and the driving and all the stops that we did, it was rigorous, tiring. Bruce did the most of the driving. I probably did the second most of the driving. And so what I did is we pulled in one time and I bought a case of 5 Hour Energy. And to my surprise, I just realized that I only used, I think, two of those. I don't know. I know one of the guys on the team used a few, and maybe somebody else on the team. I'm not sure, but I used only two of those, and I was like, "How's that possible?" Because I was doing 3 hours of sleep a day, sometimes four. You know what I mean? Not sleeping much while we're driving. And then I realized it's these products that Ethan's been sending me is what's been keeping me going. So what I've done is over the last 2 weeks, when I realized that, I've been very consistent, more than I was then. And I can tell you, just based on all this work I'm doing for the disaster, because it's on the East Coast, I'm up really early, and then I'm trying to catch up on all my work late. Generally up early. I've been getting no sleep. I mean, 3 hours is good. Last night or the night before last was 2 hours. And my wife said to me when I woke up this morning to hop on a plane, she goes, "You didn't sleep at all last night, did you?" I said, "No, I didn't." In fact, she was so excited, I got 45 minutes of sleep on the plane. But I'm here. I have energy and I can do my good work. And you guys aren't going to recognize these because these are sample bottles that Ethan kept sending me, but I took them with me. This is all I do now, and I'm just blown away, blown away at the results. And Ethan, you can go into it in
Yeah.
more detail. I had no intention of really uh, promoting anything anytime soon, but the results are just so fantastic, and I think you've done such a phenomenal job with this. I think this is a good time.
Yeah. Well, and the reason why they have no labels on them is because I gave you samples right off the bench in the lab. See, what had happened is behind the scenes, under a lot of NDAs, strict NDAs for a lot of reasons, as you can imagine, especially working with Neumi. And again, Stephen Scott, the founder of Neumi, is a very dear friend of mine. I love and respect Stephen Scott, and they've made an amazing product there, Neumi. But unfortunately, we did have some issues with the website. A lot of you have experienced that, and it's frustrating. And I sat on the board with Neumi for over a year, and I addressed a lot of those things and wasn't getting any results. And I have no bad things to say about the Neumi product. It's a great product. And I would say until we came out with this formula, it was the best product out there on the market. Now it's the second best product. And again, as like Lewis said, and especially for myself as a naturopathic practitioner, I have a moral and ethical obligation and duty. If I can find something better for people, I have to share it and I have to promote it, right? I can't just promote something just because, I've been with Neumi and they love me, and, it's there's whatever with it. I can't just stay with it just for the sake of whatever. And I was blessed with a meeting with a small group of scientists some time ago. And I started working with them and talking with them. And behind the scenes for over a year now, we've been working on formulating nano products. And that's what Neumi does, is nano glutathione specifically. But we started nano-sizing just about anything you could think of, and quite successfully, and doing it in a way that's actually more potent. On the glutathione side, actually, and let me pull up the website here just so you can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. He's looking for that. You gave me B12. This one's all just
that one's B12, yeah. But
blew my mind.
You guys watched at the intro here. If you were with us from the beginning, you saw a little blip on this. And so what had happened is, over the course of about a year, I had to keep it obviously completely hush-hush until we knew it was perfected and it actually worked. And once we did, we're like, okay, I've got to run with this. So the idea was, let's see if we can just make something better that's already good, nanoglutathione. Well, we ended up making the flagship product, which is called Elixir. And if you go to, if you scroll down, this is Serona.org. That's where you're going to go. Don't go to .com. We're actually a nonprofit. That's why it's .org. And we did that for a lot of reasons that I hope people can appreciate, but it's actually a nonprofit. Company's not making any profits on this. But you can watch the videos and see the science. You can read about it. We have a proprietary technology, stasis, STA-SUS. It stands for stable suspension, because we manage to delicately balance perfect suspension and preservation of nanoparticles of glutathione and other nutrients in a oil and water base. Okay. Everyone said, and has always said, you can't mix oil and water. And that's what I said. When I got the direct download on this, we're going to do this. Even the scientists told me immediately as soon as I said, they're like, we can't mix oil and water. What are you talking about? I was like, God told me we're going to mix oil and water. It's going to work, because the human body isn't just water. It's also oil. Look at your skin. You know, you spray water-based stuff on your skin, which the Neumi skin is water-based, and it does work. But there is one problem with it I noticed, and that's that it's all water-based. And I started to find out the glutathione in a water-based format will begin to break down over a period of time. Within the first 30 days after it's bottled, it's about 20% effective. So the effects you're getting from Neumi are only about 20% of what they really should be. So I'm like, we got to make this better. Part of the thing that makes this better is that it's oil and water. So because there's a skin spray to it too as well. This is a sample bottle, and you use it just like the Neumi skin. You spray it on your face. And there's also a supplement to that supplement. It comes in a little tube. It's a minute mask. It actually amplifies the effects of it. I'm not going to get into that too much today, but you can find it on the website here. But essentially what we did is we did the unthinkable, mixing oil and water in a perfect stable format that has a true 2-year shelf life, that's perfectly preserved using all natural and organic ingredients in a nano level. And it's not just glutathione. Now, our glutathione is 5 times as potent as Neumi. We have 5 times the amount of glutathione in ours. And the reason we can do that is because glutathione caps out in a water base, I found out. You can only go up to about 30 milligrams of glutathione in a water base. Neumi is 29 milligrams. We have 150 milligrams of glutathione in ours, plus, it's the Elixir formula, plus, oh geez, I can't remember off the top of my head how much it's in the thousands of percent of your daily value of vitamin B12 and vitamin D3, all nano-sized. And that's this one right here. That's the flagship product. You can click on it and read about it. We're not going to explain a lot about today. All the information's there. But it's truly phenomenal. And again, I wouldn't have jumped ship and done this had it not been the real deal. And the results that I've seen with the people that have tested it and myself, it's blowing Neumi out of the water. Again, I hate to say it, Neumi's a great product, but this one's better. So, we got to roll with this. Now, here's an interesting thing. As a side note, this actually just came out. We were working on this one as a side project. Finally got the approval from everybody with the scientists at the lab and people making decisions on this. This product right here, Panacea, it's about 1/3 to half the cost, depending on if you're signed up as a member or whatever, as Neumi. It has the same amount of glutathione as Neumi does, but here's what it is. It's an MCT oil supplement. Now, all of our stuff, including the Elixir, is an MCT oil base. MCT oil, glutathione, B12, and D3. And all the flavoring in it, it tastes like fruit punch. It's fruit essential oils. It's pineapple, orange, and strawberry, and stevia for sweetener. All natural, all organic. But I asked them, I was like, okay, bodybuilders and athletes love to use MCT oil, and it's really good for the gut. It's really good for your health. Even if you're not a bodybuilder or athlete, it will help you lose a lot of weight. Didn't you say that your wife was using MCT oil for a while?
Yeah, so she used to put it in her coffee. She got away with it. I think she's going back to it though.
Okay, so the
I was
Panacea, check
asking her
this out.
something about it. Yes,
The Panacea is MCT oil, but it's glutathione and collagen infused. So the results from gut health with this are tremendous. And again, it's a third to a half, depending on how you're signed up with Neumi, of the price of the Neumi Swish, and it has the same amount of glutathione in it as the Neumi Swish does. Plus, it has collagen, and it's all MCT oil, right? So imagine the compounding effects there. But again, that's not even our flagship product. It's like a supplement to the supplement. This is the main one. That's the one you're holding up there. Now, we I think are switching to the blue bottles because I like the way it looks with the label better. You've got the amber bottles. We started with amber bottles. That's what the mock-up is here. So you may get blue bottles, you may get amber bottles. It's all the same stuff. But take a look at this stuff, guys. If you've been using the Neumi, give this a shot. I wouldn't tell you that if it wasn't the real deal. I've spent my life savings and over a year of my time invested with this group of scientists formulating this stuff to make the best nano glutathione plus, because there's other stuff with it, a lot of other stuff on the market. And we're not stopping there. Again, the skin, just look at the skin, okay? It has, so Neumi skin, it has glutathione, hyaluronic acid, and collagen. I think it has L-cysteine in it too, which I figured out you don't even really need L-cysteine. You get L-cysteine when you eat steak or a hamburger or fish or whatever. It's kind of redundant. Our skin has nano glutathione, nano resveratrol. That's powerful. Nano hyaluronic acid, nano collagen, nano B5. And we also just recently, it's not even on the commercials for it because when we made the commercials, we hadn't done this yet. We also squeezed in nano B3 into it as well. And if you look at the effects of B5 and B3 on the skin in conjunction with glutathione, hyaluronic acid, collagen, and resveratrol, it'll blow your mind. And the reason it absorbs into the skin better than the Neumi skin is because it's oil and water. You have to shake these because they're oil and water. But if you're using just a water-based formula like Neumi, think about the oil in your skin. Oil repels water. So we overcame that problem. It's way more effective. I mean, look at my face, Lewis. I haven't been using Neumi for months now. A lot of people have commented on how much younger I look. Neumi made me look pretty young. It took like 10 years off of my face. This stuff is taking even more off. I'm even starting to see acne scars that I've had since I was a teenager that nothing touched. They're about half of what they were. I've had reports of other people who were trying it on their arms that had lots of scars on their arms, spraying it on their arms. Their scarring is being reduced, and they haven't even sprayed it on their face yet, but they're taking the Elixir, the oral, which is just a drop or two. It's also in glass. We don't use any plastic. Everything with Neumi and other products is plastic. It's all glass, so you don't get any microplastics or forever chemicals. But you just do one dropper under the tongue, hold it for 30 to 60 seconds, swish it around, swallow it. Tastes like fruit punch. But the skin spray, because it's water and oil, it absorbs a lot better. And get this, since we're a nonprofit and you're not actually buying the product, we formed this as a PMA, a private member association. So there's no sales tax. It's a nonprofit health ministry that's a PMA, so there's no sales tax. All you pay is the shipping. So it's actually cheaper than Neumi and more effective. And so, again, I'm not bashing Neumi. I have a lot of love for Neumi, a lot of love for Stephen Scott, the founder. It's a great product. But we made something better. And so it's time to move on. And there you have it. The Skin Plus, that's the Minute Mask. I'll talk a little bit about it, but it just enhances the effects. You literally put it dime size on your finger. You can do it in the shower, put it on your face, leave it for 1 minute. You don't want to leave it longer. It strips a lot of stuff off your skin. It has also collagen in it, hyaluronic acid, and a bunch of other stuff. This stuff goes, there's a similar formula that the formulator who made this for us makes in Europe, and it's only in Europe. It goes for $1,000 a bottle. It's almost the same exact formula. And ours is $40. Again, nonprofit. We're just trying to heal the world, right? That's what Christ commissioned us to do, go out and heal the world. So it's available, Sorona.org. Now, here's what you'll do too, real quick. If you click on something, say you want the Elixir, that's the flagship product. You select your quantity, whatever you want. If you're on your phone, it's a little tricky. Sometimes I noticed we'll have to fix that. I'll have to get with the web team. It'll revert back to quantity 1, but you can change it on your cart too later. In order to check out, if you click one-time purchase, or you can save 15% by subscribing monthly, right? You hit add to cart. It's going to make you select your sponsor. This is going to change next month because right now this is just soft launch. And so we only have a few people involved, but you have to select your sponsor. So when you do that, you hit the drop down and whoever your sponsor is, if it's Lewis, I think some of you guys are watching on Robert's show. If it's Robert, you just select your sponsor and then you can go ahead and add it to cart. Now, if you're on your cell phone, it's going to take you to your cart immediately. You have to go back to the store and add more. We're going to have that change too. That's a glitch that we noticed. But if you want to check out, you just go to your cart. Where's my cart? Oh, hang on a second. There we go. Check out, right? And you can change the quantities here at the checkout if you have problems doing that. So that's how you do it. But you have to select your sponsor on each one for now. Now, next month in November, when we do our grand opening, you'll be able to just go to Lewis's link or Robert's link or whatever. But we launched this as fast as we could and made the website as simplistic as possible just so you guys could get it. Because otherwise we'd have to push this off, another month and you wouldn't have it. So we were like, well, we can do it this way and make it work so people can get it. So it is available, but that's how you order it for now.
Cool. Well, call me impressed. So I am very impressed, but you guys need to evaluate it out for yourself, test it out. There are 2 questions here. One is, are there any products for cognitive function like Neuro? By the way, I'm just going to say publicly, I'm not comfortable with constantly making the comparison to Neumi. Neumi does their job. They're great. This does that. I am thrilled about this being an oil-based formula with 5 to 6
Well, it's
times.
both water and oil. That's the magic of it. We literally did the seemingly impossible, balancing water and oil. But that's part of what makes it more stable and have a longer shelf life, true 2-year shelf life, because oil is nature's natural preservative. Plus, your body's not just oil, especially your skin. It's not just water, especially your skin.
Right.
So we overcame that problem with it. Now, somebody was asking about the Neuro. The B12 in it, and it's all nanosized, so it crosses the blood-brain barrier. Do your research on what B12 does for the brain. And I know Lewis isn't comfortable.
You took the words out of my mouth, though, on the B12, because that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. You are going to have, again, Lewis, you've been taking it, and you haven't had to take caffeine or 5-hour energy or coffee or whatever, because the B12 is keeping you going, right? Most people, the reason we put
I feel like I have 3 brain cells instead of 2 now.
But the reason we put glutathione, B12, and D3 in this, which it blows my mind why, that's been skipped over. But those are the 3 things that people are, they're very critical, and people seem to be the most efficient in, because we have absorption problems, and a lot of people aren't getting D3. Like, D3 actually technically isn't a vitamin, it's a hormone. And your body creates it through sunlight. Well, people aren't getting a lot of sunlight. They sit in offices all day, especially in the wintertime or whatever. But even so, a lot of people still just have vitamin D deficiencies, even if they're outside. This overcomes that problem. B12, especially if you're vegetarian or vegan, you're probably not getting enough B12. Most people, I think the scientific studies right now show that it's almost 50% of all Americans are B12 deficient. That's why a lot of people are so tired. It's not, there's other things it could be too, but that's one of the reasons. This overcomes that. And it all crosses the blood-brain barrier. Think about heavy metals and toxicities in the brain. Glutathione is your master antioxidant, master detoxer. And then you throw the nano B12 and the D3 in there. The immunity boost from that. And by the way, D3 is also a natural anti-inflammatory as well as glutathione. So we took care of the inflammation problem. We took care of the oxidation problem, oxidative stress, and we added also the B12 and the immune function of vitamin D, the skeletal support system, the gut support, the MCT oil for gut health and energy. That's the other reason you got a lot of energy too, Lewis. It's not just the B12, it's the MCT oil in it. So there's a lot of reasons. This thing is a complex machine. It's literally just divine inspiration. Because again, I'm not going to take credit for it, but I'm the one that got the divine download. And I said, this is what I got as a download. Let's see if we can do this with a scientist. And they're like, we can't do that. That's not possible. And I was like, no, we're going to try it. And we did, worked on it for a long time and finally got it to work. And it's absolutely phenomenal.
Awesome. Let me go into the next question. And I'm running way over my time. I have phone calls to make for her.
Oh yeah, we are. We're an hour and 5 here.
So is it beneficial to hair and hair growth? I know the answer, but
look at Lewis's hair. Used to be the silver fox, right? And I know Neumi helped you a little bit, but your hair is even darker now than it was. Glutathione is one of those things that will help with the whole gray hair, right? Or white hair. Because, gray hair or white hair, whatever, as you age, it's not an issue of aging. It's an issue of deficiency. A lot of times it's glutathione deficiency. And as we age, our bodies produce less and less glutathione, and there's no way to get more of it. You have to get it directly in the bloodstream because your body's not producing it. Even if you take NAC, N-acetylcysteine, which is a precursor to glutathione, the body will use that to make glutathione, which is a peptide, by the way. But as you age, your body produces less and less and doesn't have the ability to produce it. So unless you're actually putting it straight into the bloodstream, you're not getting the glutathione you need. And that's one of the major causes of aging. And so all three of these things, D3, B12, and glutathione, these are things that people either get prescriptions for or injections for usually. We put it in a tasty fruit punch liquid that you put under the tongue in a small bottle. You can put this in your purse and carry it with you. You can take it on a plane, no problems. You can take multiple bottles on a plane, no problems. And you have that B12 injection or that glutathione injection instantly, super potent. Super potent. And again, 5 times the amount of glutathione than what Neumi has in theirs, and it's all nanosized.
I'm loving it. And it's so easy to use too. And I love the fact because as much as I travel, it's always in the right size.
Yeah, it's so much easier to travel with than other big bottles of stuff out there,
And folks, just so you know, if you're watching right now and you're trying to go find the links in the description, they're not there. So just refresh it. I just double checked and I fixed it. Just refresh. You're only going to see
it's Sorona.org. That's all you got to do is for now, Sorona.org. And when you go to the store and you go to check out, just select Lewis or Robert if you're Robert's person, whoever's your sponsor, just select them from the drop down at checkout.
Yeah, and even if you're on my channel, but you love Robert, make sure you select Robert.
And that's what you do. Who is your sponsor? Right there, select.
Bam. Yep, I'm not beholden to anything, and I like to take care of the people that work with me. But there's only 2 links there. There's a unitytour.us for all the hurricane relief information, and then there's Sorona.org. That's the only 2 links you're going to see.
Also, keep in mind, too, there's links on here and pages on here that aren't fully built out yet. Again, because we did a soft launch. We were trying to get it out as quick as we can so you guys could get the products. But technically, what you're doing is if you read through it, since it's a PMA and it's a health ministry nonprofit, the products are actually free. You're not paying for the products. Everything that you order, you're actually paying for a membership. And we have that coming on the membership page. You're paying for a health membership into the PMA. And there's a basic package, a basic plus, there's bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond. And you're literally it's like a subscription, right? Even though if you're not getting it monthly, every time you order something, 1 bottle equals 1 month of that package of subscription. So, 1 bottle of Elixir, for example, equals 1 month, 30 days worth of bronze subscription into the PMA health membership. And there's going to be a whole plethora of things that come out of this, things you'll be able to go into, a video library, documents you can download, information. So and that's why we did it this way. We're not just trying to sell product. We're trying to heal people. We're trying to educate people. And so even though it costs you the same to get, if that's all you care about, if you don't care about all the membership stuff, then you'll still get your product. But that's how we can do it with no sales tax, because if we're selling product, then we're operating in commerce, and we have to give the government their little cut, right? So we keep the government's grubby hands out of it by not selling any product. We're giving you a membership in the PMA, and you get the products with your membership. It's very cool how this is structured, a little sneaky workaround to keep the government out of it.
Love it. Screw big gov.
Screw big gov. That's it. So yeah, Serona.org, and select your sponsor when you check out. And right now, orders are going out in about 5 to 7 business days. Maybe it depends on where you're at. Maybe upwards of 10 business days, but it's getting faster too. We did get a huge run on our initial order for the first 2 weeks, but we're past that. They're running huge batches every single week now. And again, we control this. We control the company, so we don't have to worry about flubs with the website. If there is any issues, let us know. We'll get them fixed. But so far, I haven't seen any big issues. And we're in control of the logistics. The only thing we don't own is the company that makes the labels and the company that makes the bottles. So unless we have a problem with that, we won't have any issues. And we're working on also by November getting an expedited option. If you want to pay a little extra to get it faster, you can do that as well. But we're not quite there yet. So
Sweet.
Anyway, was there anything else you want to cover, or was that it, brother?
No, sir. I'm getting inundated with messages for hurricane stuff, so that's what I need to do right now.
No, I
Appreciate you
believe
bringing
that.
me on. Appreciate you bringing me on my channel.
On your own show. Yeah. Well, Robert wasn't able to host today, so I did. And of course, I had to come on anyway to tell you guys about this with Serona. It's absolutely amazing, life-changing. It's changed my life, changed the lives of, I mean, I thought Neumi was it. I was like, this is great. And then we got this, and I'm like, dude, it's like times 5. This is crazy. I thought it was Superman. Now I'm like, whoever can beat Superman's ass, that's who. So anyway, all right, well, I'll go ahead and cut you loose, guys. You've been watching myself, Ethan Lucas, and Lewis on Renegade Media and on Screw Big Gov. And go to Serona.org and get your orders in. If you have any questions, you can email Lewis or Robert, and I'm sure they will help you out. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out. Have a good night.